Welcome back to another episode of the MCU. I'm Marius, and this is my cinematic universe. Today, we're talking about Darth Vader helmets, specifically the Hasbro Black Series helmets. This guy is the new Obi-Wan Kenobi helmet. This one is the original 2018 helmet, and maybe you can tell the difference. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. So, these two are both Vader, but they are very different. And they are very different because the way they are painted. And this is something I've been seeing in all the forums and discussions and replica props, that the original helmet for the shooting, and maybe for the Obi-Wan show, the helmet was painted two-tone. Now here is where things get a little strange in the prop world, and which one is the right way to do it, and which one do you prefer? Or do I prefer? And honestly, I don't know. I've been going back and forth between these two helmets. I thought I liked this one the best. This is the way that Vader looks in universe, not the way it looked on set. This is the way it looked on set with the two-tone colors. But they did that because the way photography works. If you want to shoot something that's black in a dark scene, it's just going to be a void. As you can see on this one, there's not that much definition in his features. But this one, there is. And for the most part, this one does look black. And we could tweak the colors and grade it to be even blacker so that the silver is actually black. And that's what they did in all the movies, to make his face, his mask, and all his stuff just look black. Because in the movie, the mask doesn't have two tones, right? So when you're collecting, what should you do? Should you go for something that's more idealized, and the way that it would have looked in universe, the way that Vader would have looked to anybody who met him? This would be it. So if it's sitting on your shelf, this is Vader, all black with some silver accents. But the shooting helmet had the two-tone. But this one sitting on the shelf looks a little funny. I'm still on the fence which one I like the most. I do like some of the updates they did on this. The neck piece is longer. The lenses are red. I don't know if they were red in the movie. I think they might have been red in the movie, but they don't never, to me, I never noticed that they were red when I watched the movies. So this one is the more accurate looking as far as my memory of Vader. But this one has the updated red lenses that a lot of people modify and talk about when they talk about the Black Series helmet. But it has some nice new features. Like I said, the neck piece is longer, but that also makes it stand a little funny. Now this thing rubs on the table, no matter how you situate this piece, because they made this the same, but it doesn't actually lift it up anymore. Well, except when I did it here, but that's because it's incorrectly placed. See, this one displays nicer. This one also displays more head-on. This helmet is kind of leaned back, so you might want to change it. But maybe you have a reveal display, because it does have the revealed details. So, but maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves here a little bit. So overall, the helmet is very similar, except for the longer neck piece here. The two-tone color scheme, obviously. The red lenses, they changed the color up here a little bit. But the biggest thing, which is very subtle, and I don't know which movie this is accurate to, maybe more to the Obi-Wan, is this fan. The new detail is that the vent here is a lot smaller, and it has a nice little detail inside. It has a little fan inside. It's not functional, but it looks pretty good. It looks very genuine. So that's in there. Versus the old helmet, which has a large vent with a lot of plastic inside. It's not as nice as the new one, the Obi-Wan. But besides that, I think they are pretty much identical. They did update the colors for some reason. I don't know if this was to make it more accurate or just to differentiate it, or they forgot what they had on the old one. But on the top here, I don't know if you can see, but this guy is silver versus black on the old one. These details here are more golden, more copper golden, and then they're more silver on the new one. And the whole helmet up here on the top is the silver, not the black. And then obviously, as I said, the lenses, which you can see. Inside the helmet, the magnets on this, the force is strong with this one. Inside, they look pretty much exactly the same. So that's a quick little comparison between these two helmets. I am sure there are other channels out there that have a lot better walkthrough of the helmets. If you haven't seen them before, you can only get this one. This one sold out a long time ago. I don't know if it's coming back. Sometimes it says pre-order, but I don't know if that is in fact the case. So you might pick this one up on eBay or some other third-party seller. This is the new one that is currently available. So, what should you choose? And obviously there's no one answer here. There's no, this is the right way to do it and this is wrong. But I find it interesting that there is a big push sometimes by some to have it look exactly like the shooting model or the shooting prop. But the shooting prop isn't necessarily what it is supposed to look like on camera. And that is because of the photographic process where the way you expose things and the way you light things, they will look different when you get it on film or digital as it is today. So you have this helmet that has the two tones, but it was supposed to look like it's all black. So which one do you gravitate to? Do you want the more idealized version that sits on your shelf that immediately makes you think Darth Vader? Or do you have the more accurate shooting helmet where you go, why is it two different colors? It looks a little off sometimes, but sometimes it looks great. And this is on all props all the time. And you have props that in the movie look great. They look perfectly fine. They look like real objects. Then you see the prop in real life and it's like just slapped together. The details are not all there. It's a little rough. But on camera and on the screen, it looks totally fine. You don't need all that detail, or you didn't used to need all those details and props. And when you collect something that isn't the actual real prop, because hey, who can afford that, right? But if you want a replica, should you get something that replicates the shooting, or should you get something that replicates the in-universe model? And to me, I kind of gravitate sometimes towards the in-universe ones because they will look better to the naked eye. But there are people out there that make props and make helmets that are handmade, that are off the original mold, or they shaped it and molded it to look like the original ones. Here's something that a lot of people don't like about these helmets is that they are symmetrical. In the movie, I don't think if you watch the movie, you never notice that the helmet, unless you're like pixel peeping and like studying and everything to match up stuff, you wouldn't think that Vader's helmet is asymmetrical, right? Because in the universe, it's supposed to be this perfect, well-made mask. Why would they make it all wonky and kind of like misshaped? They wouldn't. These little vents here are a little crooked in the original molds, but they're not here because this is the idealized version. This is how it would have looked if you actually met him. And I kind of prefer that. But I see the point of having or going for something that is more screen accurate and more realistic, like more actual prop like. But I don't think that there's a case to be made that that's the only way to go, at least not for me. So I kind of like it when they look a little bit more realistic, where they look a little bit more properly done than maybe the actual prop were. So what do you think? Do you like the more idealized version of props, or do you prefer the ones that are trying to be as accurate and realistic to the actual props as possible? And if you do, which version of the prop? Should you go for the currently existing prop and like how this looks today, maybe like 40 years after it was originally used? Are you trying to make it look the way it looked maybe on screenshots, behind the scenes photos during shooting? Or do you want to make it the way that it was handed off to production as it started? Because all of those versions might look very different. And the longer you get from the original making of it, the more beat up and rough looking it's going to get. So if you're matching it what do you match it to? So there's all these considerations, and I'm not putting out any like this, you should do it this way, you should do it that way. I'm just thought I'd make a little video about it and talk about it and see what you guys think, because that's interesting to me. I'm still on the fence of which of these I like the most. I am gravitating a little bit towards this one, but I do like that it's all black. So maybe a hybrid of these two would be my ideal one. Maybe this updated neck piece, vent, maybe the red lenses, but all black and glossy would be my preferred version of the Vader helmet. So let me know in the comments below what you think, what you prefer, and why. And I'll see you guys down there. With a very plastic, which has a